Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Denise Patrick. She is the president and CEO of D. Patrick Consulting Incorporated, where she is designing business performance solutions in communication, creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and leadership. I'm so grateful to have her on the show today. Thank you so much for coming on today, Denise.
Oh, Bryce, thank you so much for asking me to be here. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, from our initial conversations, I'm really grateful to have this conversation. Cannot wait for the audience to really enjoy this and really get some value out of this. So, also, if you guys are watching this from any location outside of our free community, I just want to personally open, an invitation for you to come and join us inside. It's a mastermind where we come together and support each other every day. So that's what we've been missing, especially in these times when we may not be able to connect with each other, in person. Let's do it virtually inside this community. I'll see you guys in there by clicking on the links either above or below the video. Now, Denise, what was life like before you got into coaching and consulting, and what was the catalyst that brought you into the field?
Wow, that is such a great question. Prior to doing this and having my own business, I actually worked years and years and years and years ago in investment banking. Right, that was my first major job. Right, out of college, or actually sort of in the middle of college, and I really enjoyed having the opportunity to work behind the scenes. I worked in the back office, right, and so back office, for those who don't know, would be the ones who really take care of the business administration, and I worked in what we call systems, which now we would call it IT, right? So IT and back office, but I also worked doing systems and making sure that I could teach people how to use certain software because that was kind of new at that time. By that point, I had also started to finish off my degree in corporate communication, and I was fascinated with being able to help people learn, to help business run. And I think working in systems really taught me the backside of the business, right? The heart and the soul of a business. And so fast forward to all of the work that I was able to do in terms of being able to do small consulting roles, by being able to, again, understand what the heart of the business does for the front side of the business, like the marketing and the sales. And so I think, just again, fast forwarding a bit, what really got me very interested into doing this for my own business is really working with other people who did that themselves. And I remember being hired in graduate school by one of my classmates. He was in a PhD program and I was in my master's program. And he said, listen, I have a small consulting business and I would love to bring you on board to learn how to do this. And I thought, well, sure, I'm in graduate school, I'm hungry, we get paid, I get food, I like it, right? And because I really grasped onto that and tried to learn as much from him as possible, he kept encouraging me. He's like, you can do this, right? You can always do something like this. And I said, and I'm going to do that. And that's what I did. So really the precursor to what I'm doing now, I started back in 1993. So I've always had something. I've always done some kind of training, some kind of development, some kind of working with people to get them up to speed or to upskill or to reskill. And I've always had a fascination with working with organizations to help them develop as well.
Yes, yes. Let me ask you this question. So nowadays, what problems are people generally trying to solve when they come to work with you?
When people are trying to solve a problem, usually the issues stem around trying to get their managers or their first line supervisors, or I would even say those who are new supervisors or managers, to become leaders. I mean, that's the biggest thing. That's number one. The second issue that I tend to deal with very often are those who are trying to learn how to communicate better. And that means very different things to many people, right? That's both of those terms, quite frankly, are definitions where you have probably 200 different definitions, right? For each one of those words of leadership and communication. So I usually come in and I work with people or I work with organizations to develop their people to become stronger, more confident communicators, as well as becoming more productive and more effective leaders in the organization.
Let me ask you this question. So what is a common communication mistake that most people make that they don't even know they're making?
Oh, I have to think about that one for a second. I would say, just off of the top of my head, and given some of the issues that I run across, is that people make mistakes in not understanding, one, how their audience, and you can have an audience of one, okay, not understanding how their audience may be perceiving the communication that they are sending, right? So I may not understand that. We'll just take you as an example. Let's say I misinterpret how you are hearing my communication, and I don't understand perhaps that you might be more analytical. And I'm talking to you as someone who is more, we'll say relational, and that's not really the term that I mean, but I'm talking to you in these relational terms, and you're receiving what I'm saying, but you're not giving me detail. I need detail, right? And so I might miss the mark on that. And then I don't understand why we can't seem to get to a shared meaning. I think that that's one. I think the second really huge thing that people misunderstand and make a mistake about with communicating is that you have to listen. And so people tend to worry more about the sending of the message as opposed to understanding how to receive the message. So we always are teaching people the send, send, send. And it is very rare where we are teaching people how to receive information from others.
Mhm. And it's the reason why receiving so
Mhm.
important is so you can really understand who you're actually speaking to and how they like to be spoken to.
That's one, I would say, but I think the other thing too is so that you begin to learn as the listener how to help that person reshape their message. So as we're talking, right, what you did right there is, because you're listening in a particular way, you're able to ask me a really good follow-up to say, well, I want to clarify what you mean by that.
Mhm.
Right? If I'm not listening and I'm just sort of focused on the send, 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 I miss the opportunity to then give that person an opportunity to clarify, or for me to really even understand what that person might be saying. And I really need to be able to pay attention to that from the listening side. So, listening is a huge, huge thing. It's a very huge and a very critical part of the communication process.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
How much this time, so, or this question, so right now, maybe people aren't able to communicate as consistent as what they want, because some people are using the virtual communications, but maybe some people are not really getting enough in person, back and forth. Can you maybe give some tips on how they can prepare to go back into the workplace? And, maybe I've heard a couple people say, I'm kind of scared that I've lost some of my, communication skills and some of my cues I'm not going to be able to recognize. Can you maybe say something to maybe instill confidence in them that maybe they can learn it or?
Sure, sure. I think that one of the things that people are afraid of now is because we're talking more like this, right? So everything is Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, something, right? Not to, name brands, so to speak, right? But mostly what we're doing is really doing the virtual conversation. And one of the things that I would say is that because we're doing everything virtually, there are cues that we really can miss. The most robust way of communicating really is to do it face to face. That doesn't mean that doing this on the phone or in writing or actually doing it this way virtually is impossible. But there are some tips. So I'll start with one. One is to, be confident in the fact that the person sitting on the other side is probably trying to figure out your nonverbal cues, just like you're trying to figure out their nonverbal cues, right? So everybody right now, like, this is almost like the great equalizer, right? That we really are all almost starting from ground zero. I would say a little bit above ground zero, but maybe around ground zero. So that's one. Number two, I think the other thing is to begin to get comfortable with sharing and talking to a camera, right? And not necessarily, seeing the person's face and body and everything right in front of you. You're sort of seeing it, but to really just get comfortable with talking in front of a camera. Practice, right? Record yourself. That's a huge thing that I would encourage people to do, is just to record yourself. Now, that's on the surface, okay? So those are the surfacey kinds of things. The other things that I think have more depth and more meaning is to do the things that you would normally do in a regular conversation, which is, give the give and take. Let me share my information, but do it quickly and succinctly, because sitting, as you know, in a chair on a computer screen for 2-3 hours a day, and some people really do have those kinds of days because that's how their meetings go, you really get fatigued. Right? You really do become fatigued.
Yeah.
So really practice the idea of, let me get my thoughts together, let me organize them, let me make them quick. And if we need a follow-up after 30 minutes, 45 minutes, let's take the break and then let's come back at it, maybe a little bit later.
Yeah. If I
Mhm.
don't think people really understand how much they can take out of, like, for example, for right now, I actually have a piece of paper over my screen so I
Mhm.
can kind of see, but I'm not looking at the computer. Because it was like, whenever you're doing 7 discovery calls a day on Zoom, it's like, that can get tiring. Now, just thinking about the future and kind of the vision for you, what does the vision, for you look like for the rest of or the vision for your life look like for as far down the road as you like to think or to talk about?
I think that for me, my vision and partially my mission statement is I've really embraced three particular things, and then I'll back that into why. I am so intrigued by being able to teach and to lead and to inspire people. I enjoy teaching, not in the traditional sense, although, I am a college professor, right? I do that. But when I'm talking about teaching, I like to give people information. I love to share information. I love to send, my networks, hey, see this article, or, have you read this? Or here's a webinar that might be interesting for you. So I enjoy that. The second thing I enjoy doing is leading. And sometimes the leading for me also means sitting back and following, right? So you can't really be a great leader, for me, in my perspective, unless you're willing to also sit back and to learn and to follow others. So I do follow, actually on LinkedIn, some really intriguing people. And I also follow in my life some really intriguing people, which helps me grow as a leader. The third thing is to be able to inspire people. I really enjoy helping people feel confident. I enjoy putting up quotes or words of encouragement or motivation, because we all need them. And as we may say, sometimes when you're sharing yours, it's because you need it too. And all of those three really stem for me around having a purpose-driven life.
Mm.
And the purpose-driven life for me is, it falls into my faith. And my faith really grounds me in living in, and I'll just say it, living in God's purpose. And if I'm not doing things that are in God's purpose, then I really need to rethink what I'm doing. So my vision for my life is to maintain my purpose and to teach and to lead and to inspire.
Right. Let me ask you this question. Do you have anything new coming out or anything that, is of interest to the audience?
In terms of what I'm doing for my business.
Yeah, for example, sometimes people either have a new book coming out or they have
Mhm.
like a course opening or they have a group program they like to tell people about.
Yeah, at some point, probably toward the end of the summer or the beginning of the fall, I actually am in the process now of revamping the website and making it a little bit more user-friendly for folks. And so what I do intend to do is to create an opportunity for people to come and to learn and to do webinars with me and to learn with me. And also, I'm actually in a graduate program, so I'm getting my doctorate. So my
Wow.
life really is consumed by that, and it will be consumed by that starting Monday, actually.
Wow.
Again, with other classes. Thank you. I'm at the end. I'm getting there. I'm
You're
almost
gonna
done.
make it. Congratulations in advance.
Thank you. I think once that happens, the books will come, and I have many books in me that I really want to get out.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
school takes a lot out of you. I've never done PhD
Yeah.
program, but I assume that's probably the hardest level of school.
Let me tell you, it is so challenging, but it's so rewarding.
Mhm.
This past quarter, I had two courses that they really sucked the life out of me in a good way, in a good way. One course, I'll just say, I think going into it, I didn't think I could do it.
Mm.
And I really had to mentally make the shift. And every time I opened up the work for that class, I just said to myself, I love this. I love quantitative methods. Oh my gosh, it's amazing what you can learn in quantitative methods. This is so exciting. And by the time I got to the end, can I tell you, I actually enjoy quantitative methods now.
Wow.
Right. So that's why I say, you know, there is that way of doing that. And there's the book in me that's that kind of telling people you can do this, you can put your mindset to it, you can accomplish all the things that you put your mindset to. It's framing.
Mm. That's
Yeah.
interesting, actually.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, there's a lesson to that for those watching. Make sure you
Yes.
rewind if you missed it. If it went whoop.
This is like the Concorde. It kind of, right?
You know, it's weird. It's like sometimes people don't really, oftentimes we don't see things the first time around. So that's why it's always important. You know, I really appreciate you coming on, really just sharing your story, and really giving us some great tips and advice and value today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I was happy to do this. I really hope that what I shared is able to help someone out there or several people out there, because I know sometimes you just need to have a little oomph, right? Just to get your day going.
Yeah. You know, for those watching, we thoroughly hope that you found this valuable. Now, once again, if you have not, joined our community, I just want to personally invite you, because inside it's a mastermind where we're coming together and supporting each other, especially in these tough times. You know, we're in this together, and the best place is to be inside of a community of people who support you. So if that's you, come and join us by clicking the link either above or below the video. Love to have you in there. Can't wait to see you. Now, hopefully you enjoyed watching this as much as we enjoyed creating it. Feel free to hit that share button so other people can get some great value as well. Have a great day. We're done recording in 3 and 2 and 1 and see you.